All right, the continuation of chapter 25, decision making. They show, that it's very academic. That there's 5 steps. You define it. You look at alternatives, gather relevant information, select the best course of action, and then analyze and assess decisions made. The problem with that is that while you're collecting relevant information, you don't get all the information. So often almost always, you're dealing with a certain level of uncertainty and risk analysis. A couple key terms here. Relevant costs. These are costs that are applicable to a particular decision, and it's very true. And it should be the costs that have a bearing on which alternative you're going to make. And these are the costs that are avoidable, because you could avoid this cost versus taking on another project. And why this becomes important is, let me see if they have sunk costs. They don't. It's unbelievable. Okay. The other cost that's applicable to relevant costs is sunk costs. Oh, they do have it here. So sunk costs are the results of past decisions and cannot be changed. So this is like you bought a major piece of equipment and now you can't change it. You're stuck with it. Well, sunk costs are irrelevant to the future decisions because you can't change it. So you really want to deal with relevant costs, those that are changeable. And that's going forward. And so often I find people dealing with projects and they're trying to save their sunk costs. While that's a notable desired goal, the reality is sunk costs maybe shouldn't be a factor in going forward if you can't do it. So the relevant costs are going to be your out-of-pocket costs in the future. What do I still have to spend versus what have I already spent? So that was the difference between sunk costs and relevant costs and opportunity costs. So let me talk about opportunity costs. Opportunity cost is the potential benefit you're giving up when you choose one alternative to another. Case in point. You have made a decision to actually listen to this lecture and do some homework and study accounting. There's an opportunity cost. You could be outside enjoying the weather, spending time with your children, or going to a movie. So going to the pleasures of doing something else is your opportunity cost. And obviously you feel that your investment, i.e. in time and effort, is better spent in studying this material. So that's what opportunity costs are. Is what did I give up by choosing this alternative? So study this slide. I am going to have some questions on the test on this. Make sure you do understand these terms. The chapter then goes into accepting additional business. What's the additional cost? What's the incremental revenue that I'm going to get by maybe accepting new business? I'm not going to test this extensively. I think some other issues like the time value of money is more important to learn. But it is true. How do you compare when to take a business offer or not? Again, it's the cash flows. So that cash flow analysis is most important, and that's why you use the net present value. Do you make or buy? Sort of another decision. Is it better to make or buy? Again, you're looking at your incremental costs on these decisions, and they're going to give you, some examples on this. I'm not going to study this in a whole lot. Also, it's worth studying. Scrap or rework. Again, you're dealing. Is it worth the effort to salvage the scrap? Again, is it what you're comparing the benefits to the costs and so forth. Sell or process, sort of the same concept, So the general rule, you only process further if it's going to increase incremental revenues exceed incremental costs, i.e. that you're going to make more money from doing so. If you don't, stop. That's really what it's saying. This is true in business sales mix selection. So you can you have a choice to offer, like they gave the haircut example in the prior chapter. should we give, 3 different kind of haircuts or 2 or 1? And so we've already studied this selection mix, and it's based on the contribution margin of each product. And then, of course, you're looking at the demand and how much facilities and cost to separate that. And so we've studied this before. And then also remember the term, the cannibalization by offering another product. If these two are similar, this might cannibalize from this or vice versa a little bit. And that has to be estimated and factored into the decision-making process. Segment elimination. This is like if you're eliminating a line of business, maybe. Again, is it and it comes down to, am I making enough money to continue this line? Really, that's the essence. Is it worth my time and my effort on there? So here they say, no, it's worth $6,000 more. I don't know. Is it worth management's time for $6,000? I think there's a little bit more analysis to this. This is taking up a lot of my time, so forth. So some qualitative factors and decisions that go beyond some of the financials is, supplier reputations, employee morale, customer opinions, management time, and so forth. So there are some qualitative aspects, like what I had just mentioned, versus just the quantitative aspect. Break-even time. Okay, we've looked at this, and all they're doing is they're now adding back, the present value of cash flows to evaluate it, rather than just comparing it strict on a numerical basis. You're putting that numerical basis in present value terms, which is the most accurate way to do it. That is basically the end of this chapter and the end of this class. Congratulations. And we'll go ahead and stop there.